Hello, everyone. Today we have something far more important than just another topic to listen to. We are going to talk about you and the hidden cost of your anger. Think about it. You know what anger has taken from you, not in vague theories, but in sharp, unforgettable moments. The time you shouted and saw the light vanish from someone's eyes. The silence at the dinner table after your voice shook the walls. The way a friend pulled back, not because they hated you, but because your words cut deeper than you ever meant. Anger doesn't just leave the room when you calm down. It lingers, it echoes, it stains memories, and you carry it too. The guilt of things you can't unsay. The regret of moments when rage wore your face and spoke with your tongue. Even when you whisper to yourself, "I didn't mean it, it was just anger," deep down you know, the scars remain. Apologies soften the wound, but they never erase it. But here's the twist most people never realize. Anger itself is not your enemy. It isn't the monster you think it is. Anger is a messenger, a fire alarm screaming that something inside you feels wrong, unheard, disrespected, unsafe. The alarm isn't the problem. The real danger is when you mistake the alarm for the fire. So listen carefully, because today you will discover something different. Anger doesn't have to ruin your relationships or your self-respect. If you learn its secret, you can turn it into strength, clarity, and power. And that journey begins right now. The truth about anger. You've felt it before. That sudden rush of heat in your chest, the way your jaw tightens, your heartbeat thunders, and your voice sharpens before you even think. In that moment, it feels powerful, almost intoxicating, like you've tapped into a hidden energy that makes you stronger than the person in front of you. But here's the truth you rarely stop to consider. Anger isn't strength. It's a signal, a survival alarm blaring inside your body, screaming that something feels wrong. Think of it like the smoke alarm in your home. When smoke fills the room, the alarm shrieks. It's loud, it's uncomfortable, it demands attention. But the alarm itself isn't the fire. Its only job is to warn you. Something's burning, do something about it. Anger is exactly the same. It isn't the fire. It's the alarm. And yet most of your life you've treated it as if the alarm itself was the problem. You've shouted, slammed, stormed out, as if silencing the sound would solve the danger. But it never does. Beneath every wave of rage is a quieter truth, one you usually ignore: pain. That time you exploded at a friend for not answering your call, was it really rage? Or was it the ache of feeling unimportant? When you snapped at your child, was it pure anger or fear that you were losing control, that you weren't respected? Every outburst hides a wound. The sting of being ignored, the ache of being unloved, the fear of being unsafe. But when you react without pausing, you never see the wound. You only see the flames. And so you end up fighting battles that don't even exist. Striking at people who aren't the real enemy, burning bridges you actually wanted to cross. Here's the shift you need to make. Instead of asking, "Why am I so angry?" ask, "What pain is my anger trying to reveal?" That simple question pulls back the mask. Suddenly, anger is no longer a monster you have to fight, but a messenger you can listen to. Imagine this. You're in traffic. A car cuts you off. Instantly, your blood boils. You grip the wheel. You mutter under your breath. Maybe you even shout. But what if in that flash you paused? What if you asked, "What am I really feeling?" Maybe you'd realize it's not just about the car. It's about the endless ways life feels unfair, about the exhaustion of always being overlooked. By naming it, I feel disrespected. I feel powerless. You take back control. Because when pain has a name, anger loses its grip. The greatest danger is not anger itself, but unrecognized anger. Think about it. The volcano doesn't destroy because it erupts, but because no one noticed the pressure building inside. You are that volcano. When you don't notice what's brewing, when you ignore the subtle hurts, the hidden fears, they build and build until one day they erupt in words you regret and actions you can't take back. So here's your lesson. Anger isn't evil. It's ancient. It's the survival system of your ancestors who needed to protect themselves in the wild. But you're not running from predators anymore. Your battles are emotional, relational, personal. And that means you need a new way of listening to the alarm. The next time your chest tightens, don't rush to explode. Don't silence the alarm by yelling, slamming, or shutting down. Instead, breathe and ask, what is this really about? Am I afraid? Do I feel ignored? Do I feel unloved? The moment you name the pain, you weaken anger's power. It's like flipping on a light in a dark room. Suddenly you can see clearly and the shadows lose their threat. The truth about anger is this: it's not your enemy. It's your teacher. It's not here to destroy your life. It's here to reveal the parts of you that need healing. When you stop fighting the alarm and start listening to it, you begin to master yourself. And that mastery is where real strength begins. The power of the pause, you know the feeling well. Someone says something sharp and instantly your body reacts. Your chest tightens, words race to your tongue, your fists clench before you even think. That gap, the tiny space between what triggers you and how you respond, feels almost invisible. But hidden inside that space is one of the greatest secrets of emotional power. It's only about 3 seconds long, yet it decides whether you will regret the next moment or rise from it stronger. Think of it like boiling tea on the stove. At first the water is calm, steady. Then the heat builds, bubbles form, steam escapes, and before long it whistles violently through the kettle. If you don't act, the liquid spills, scalding everything in its path. That's your anger. The heat rises, pressure builds, and if you don't lift the kettle, even for just 3 seconds, it overflows. But if you pause, if you remove it from the flame, the boiling slows. Nothing gets destroyed. The pause saves everything. Or picture yourself driving down a busy road. Suddenly, a car swerves right in front of you. Instinct kicks in. You could slam your horn, shout, chase, let your fury take the wheel. But pause for just 3 seconds. Breathe. You'll realize, if you had reacted blindly, maybe you'd have caused an accident. Maybe you'd have turned a small mistake into a tragedy. That single breath separates destruction from safety. The pause isn't weakness. It's wisdom. In those 3 seconds, you hold the power of choice. You can be the destroyer, the one who lashes out, cuts with words, wounds with actions, or you can be the protector, the one who shields peace, guards dignity, and saves relationships. The world tells you strength is in the loudest reaction, but real strength lives in the quiet pause before the storm. The truth is, anger wants you to believe you have no choice. It pushes you to explode, to let the fire consume everything. But that's a lie. You always have a choice. The pause is your doorway to that choice. In those moments, you decide whether anger will control you or you will control it. Imagine the person you love most standing before you. They say something careless, something that pierces your heart. The first impulse is to strike back, to throw your pain onto them. But if you give yourself 3 seconds, just 3, you open space for a different response. Instead of saying something that scars, you might say something that heals. Instead of letting your words cut, you let your silence protect. That is power. That is mastery. The pause doesn't erase your anger. It doesn't make you less human. It simply gives you a chance to see clearly before you act. It's the difference between smashing glass in rage and placing it gently on the table. Both come from the same hands, but only one leaves the world unbroken. And the more you practice this pause, the stronger it becomes. At first, it feels impossible. Your reactions are faster than your awareness. But with time, you train yourself. You learn to breathe, to count, to step back. Each pause builds a bridge over the flood of emotion. Each pause proves that you are bigger than your impulses. So the next time anger rises, remember, 3 seconds can save you. 3 seconds can protect your relationships, your dignity, your peace of mind. Those tiny moments carry the weight of your future. You don't need to live at the mercy of your triggers. You don't need to let every spark turn into fire. You have the power to choose. And that power doesn't come from shouting louder or striking harder. It comes from pausing long enough to see the truth. The pause is your shield. The pause is your strength. The pause is the doorway where you stop being controlled by anger and start becoming the master of it. Step through it, and you'll discover the kind of strength that lasts. Breath is your weapon. You've noticed it before, even if you didn't realize it at the time. The moment anger surges through your body, your breath changes. It becomes shallow, sharp, almost as if you're suffocating. Your fists clench, your shoulders tighten, your chest feels like a cage locking in fire. This is no accident. It's the physiology of anger. Your body is preparing for battle, pumping blood to your muscles, narrowing your focus, stealing your breath so you're ready to fight or run. But here's the hidden truth. The very thing anger steals from you, your breath, is also your greatest weapon against it. When you breathe shallow, your body thinks it's in danger. When you breathe deep, your body believes it is safe. That's the switch. That's the code you can break. By taking control of your breath, you take control of your body, your mind, your choices. There is a simple yet powerful technique. Box breathing. Imagine a square. 4 equal sides, 4 equal counts. You breathe in for 4 seconds. You hold for 4 seconds. You breathe out for 4 seconds. You hold again for 4. Like drawing a box with your breath. Each side steady, equal, calm. At first it feels strange, almost forced. But within moments, your heartbeat slows. Your fists loosen, your thoughts clear. Anger loses its grip because you've given your body a different command. We are safe now. Think about it. When flames rise in a fire, the first instinct is to throw more fuel. That's what yelling, clenching, or reacting does. But when you pause and breathe, it's like pouring water on the fire. The heat weakens. The smoke clears. And suddenly, what looked like destruction becomes manageable. Let me share a story. There was once a soldier who returned home after years of war. On the battlefield, his anger kept him alive. It made him fierce, unbreakable. But at home, it became his enemy. Every small sound, every disagreement, every reminder of pain triggered explosions that wounded the people he loved most, his wife, his children. His family began to fear him, not because he didn't love them, but because his rage drowned out his love. One night, after shouting at his son for spilling a glass of milk, he saw the fear in the boy's eyes. That moment broke him more than any wound from war. He realized if he didn't change, he would lose the very people he had fought so hard to come home to. A therapist taught him box breathing. At first he laughed. How could breathing stop the storms inside him? But desperate, he tried. In the middle of an argument, when his chest tightened and his voice was ready to explode, he stopped. He inhaled 4 seconds. He held, he exhaled, he held again. Just one round. Then another. Then another. Something shifted. His fists unclenched. His voice softened. His son looked at him not with fear, but with hope. Day after day, he practiced. The same breath that once raced in battle now healed his home. His children began to trust again. His wife began to smile again. He hadn't defeated his anger by force. He had disarmed it with breath. You too can do the same. The next time anger surges, don't let it hijack your body. Notice the shallow breath. Notice the clenched fists. And then take back control. Breathe in 4 seconds. Hold 4 seconds. Exhale 4 seconds. Hold 4 seconds. Draw the box again and again until your body believes, I am safe. I am calm. I choose my response. Your breath is more than air. It is your weapon. A weapon not for destruction, but for peace. It is the invisible shield you carry everywhere. The one tool no one can take from you. Use it and you'll discover that mastery over anger doesn't begin in your mind or your words. It begins in your breath. The wisdom of walking away. You've been told all your life that walking away means losing. That if you don't fight back, you're weak. That if you let someone have the last word, you've surrendered your dignity. But here's the truth most people never learn. Sometimes the greatest strength you can show is in the quiet act of walking away. Picture this. A father and his young son are driving home late one night. The boy is chattering about school, about dreams, about little things that only matter to a child. Suddenly, screeching tires, a crash. Another driver, drunk, slams into their car. Metal twists, glass shatters. Both survive, but the father's car is destroyed and his son is trembling with fear. The other driver stumbles out, cursing, yelling, blaming. The father feels the rage rise like a storm. Every part of him wants to strike, to scream, to demand justice in that very moment. But then he looks at his boy, wide, terrified eyes. A small hand gripping his arm, not asking for revenge, not asking for pride, just asking for safety. In that split second, the father understands. His choice is not between fighting or losing. His choice is between protecting his pride or protecting his child's heart. He takes his son's hand, pulls him close, and walks away. That night, the boy doesn't remember the broken car or the shouting man. He remembers his father's calm, his strength, his decision to keep peace instead of pouring fuel on fire. Years later, that memory becomes a lesson etched deep. True strength is not measured in how loud you roar, but in how wisely you choose silence. And this is the lesson for you, too. Walking away doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong enough to protect what really matters. Anger will tell you that your pride is everything, that if you don't respond, you're defeated. But pride is fragile and peace is priceless. When you protect peace over pride, you save relationships, you preserve dignity, you guard your own heart. Think about the last time you fought to prove you were right. Did it bring peace, or did it leave a trail of bitterness? Winning an argument often loses the war of connection, but walking away, choosing silence, choosing distance, can preserve love that shouting would destroy. It's like holding a glass of clear water in your hand. Someone bumps into you, spilling it everywhere. You could grip tighter, spill more, shatter the glass, or you could simply set it down. Walking away is setting the glass down before it breaks. And let's be clear, walking away is not the same as giving up. It doesn't mean you don't care or that you let others walk over you. It means you've chosen a higher battlefield. You've decided that your peace, your self-respect, your relationships are more valuable than the fleeting satisfaction of pride. It takes courage to stay silent when your ego is screaming. It takes wisdom to step back when every impulse tells you to strike. That is strength. The next time anger tries to pull you into battle, remember the father and the crashed car. Remember the son's small hand. Remember that sometimes the greatest victory is not in winning the fight, but in keeping the people you love safe from the storm of your anger. You don't have to prove your worth in every argument. You don't have to defend your pride in every confrontation. You can choose differently. You can walk away, not because you are weak, but because you are strong enough to know what truly matters. Peace over pride. Protection over destruction. That is the wisdom of walking away. And if you learn it, you won't just save yourself. You'll save the hearts of those who matter most. Words that become scars. You've heard the saying, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me." But deep down, you know it isn't true. Bones heal, bruises fade, but words spoken in rage, they cut deeper than any wound and leave scars that last for years, sometimes for a lifetime. Think about it. How many times have you remembered something cruel said to you in anger? Maybe it was 10 years ago. Maybe it was from a parent, a teacher, a friend, or a lover. But the memory is still there, sharp, echoing, alive. Words don't just disappear into the air. They carve themselves into hearts. And the same is true for the words you've spoken. The times you shouted in fury, the times you hurled insults you didn't mean, the times you let rage speak for you. Maybe you apologized later. Maybe you said, "I didn't mean it, I was just angry." But apologies can't erase echoes. Once words are released, they live in the memory of the one who heard them. 5 seconds of rage can cause 5 years of pain. Picture this. A child drops a plate, and in your fury you snap. You're so careless. To you, it's just a reaction, just a moment. But to the child, those words become a mirror they look into for years. Every mistake, every failure, they'll hear that voice. You're careless. You're not enough. That's how words become scars. Or think of an argument with someone you love. In anger, you say something sharp, something you regret the instant it leaves your mouth. The fight ends, the silence returns, but a wall has been built. A single phrase becomes a shadow in their heart, making them flinch the next time, making them trust a little less. Here's the truth. Once words escape, you can't take them back. But you can stop them before they leave. And the technique is simple. Delay. When anger rises and your tongue is ready to lash, pause. Bite back the words, not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to know their power. Give yourself space. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, even a full minute. In that space, you gain control. In that silence, you choose whether you'll heal or whether you'll scar. One powerful tool is writing. Instead of speaking in the heat of rage, grab a pen, grab your phone, and write down exactly what you want to say. Pour out every insult, every accusation, every piece of fire onto the page. Once it's written, read it back to yourself. you'll notice something remarkable. The words that felt so urgent, so justified in the moment, suddenly look harsh, unfair, even cruel. You realize you don't want to release that poison into the world. Writing gives you the distance to see what anger was trying to make you blind to. Delaying speech doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means giving yourself the chance to express them without destruction. Instead of blurting words that wound, you can later speak words that explain, that heal, that build bridges instead of burning them. Because here's the truth. Your words are not just sounds. They are seeds. Every word you plant grows into something. Anger plants thorns. Patience plants flowers. What you choose to release today determines what will bloom tomorrow in your relationships. The next time your heart races and your tongue burns with fury, remember this. 5 seconds can save 5 years. The silence you keep now can protect the love you'll still want later. The words you hold back can protect the bond you can't afford to lose. So choose wisely. Delay before you speak. Write before you explode. Let your words be a gift, not a weapon. Because once they leave your lips, they don't vanish. They live on, either as comfort or as scars. And the kind of legacy you leave is entirely in your control. Mirror of truth. There's a moment in every person's life when anger shows them a version of themselves they barely recognize. And sometimes the harshest teacher you'll ever face is not another person's reaction, but your own reflection staring back at you. Picture this. Your anger has just erupted. Maybe you slammed a door. Maybe you shouted. Maybe you hurled words sharp enough to slice through silence. Your chest is heaving. Your hands are trembling. Your face is burning red. And then, almost by accident, you catch sight of yourself in the mirror. What do you see? Not strength, not control, not victory. You see someone else, a stranger. Eyes wide with fury, face twisted, jaw clenched so tight it looks painful. In that moment, the mirror doesn't lie. It shows you the cost of rage. It strips away your excuses, your justifications, and forces you to face the truth. This is who you become when you let anger take the wheel. It's unsettling, isn't it? Because deep down you know that the reflection staring back at you is not the person you want to be. It's not the parent who nurtures, the friend who supports, the partner who loves. It's a shadow version of you, a version that frightens even yourself. The mirror becomes a wake-up call. Because when you see yourself like that, you realize anger doesn't just hurt others, it steals you from yourself. It hijacks your face, your voice, your identity. And if you don't change, that stranger in the mirror will start to define you. But here's the gift hidden in that painful reflection. Awareness. The mirror shows you not just what you are, but what you could lose if you don't act. And that awareness can become your turning point. Imagine this. The next time you feel rage boiling, instead of storming off or striking out, you walk straight to the mirror. You look into your own eyes. You hold your gaze, even when it's uncomfortable. And you ask yourself, is this who I want to be? Is this the face my children should remember? Is this the image of me my loved ones should carry in their hearts? Those questions are powerful, because the mirror never softens the truth. It doesn't flatter, it doesn't lie, it doesn't excuse. It reflects. And in that reflection, you find the courage to pause, to breathe, to choose differently. There was once a man who struggled with explosive anger. Every argument ended in shouting, every disagreement left scars. But one night, after a particularly harsh fight with his wife, he walked into the bathroom and saw himself in the mirror. His face was red, his eyes wild, his lips curled in rage. He looked like a monster, and for the first time, he scared himself. That moment shattered him more than any guilt ever had. He realized if his wife saw him as frightening, if his children grew up with that image burned into memory, he would lose them forever. That night became his turning point. He made a rule. Every time anger rose before saying a word, he would face himself in the mirror. Sometimes he saw the shadow again, and that was enough to stop him. Sometimes he saw pain, and that reminded him to speak with gentleness. Over time, the mirror became his teacher. His reflection stopped being a stranger. It became a reminder of who he truly wanted to be, and you can do the same. Let the mirror show you the truth. Let it strip away the illusions and give you the wake-up call you need. Because when you see yourself clearly, you cannot hide. And when you cannot hide, you are forced to grow. The stranger you see in anger doesn't have to be your destiny. You can change. You can become someone whose reflection radiates calm, compassion, and strength. The mirror of truth is harsh, but it is also merciful. It shows you exactly where to begin. The real pain, beneath every time anger rises, it feels like the enemy. Your blood surges, your voice sharpens, your fists clench. It's overwhelming, consuming, impossible to ignore. But here's the truth most people never see. Anger is not the fire, it's the smoke. The real fire, the real danger, burns somewhere deeper. Think of a house filling with smoke. You could grab a fan, open a window, wave your arms, try desperately to push the smoke out. But unless you find the fire, the smoke will keep coming back. That's how anger works. You can shout, slam doors, or even try to suppress it. But until you uncover the pain beneath, the cycle never ends. So the next time rage surges, don't ask, "Why am I so angry?" Ask instead, "What's the real wound?" Because beneath anger is always something softer, something more vulnerable. Maybe it's the sting of rejection. Maybe it's the ache of being ignored. Maybe it's the fear of not being enough. Anger is the mask. Pain is the face hiding underneath. Imagine someone cuts you off in traffic. Instantly your anger explodes, horn blaring, heart racing, words flying. But if you look closer, the real wound isn't the car in front of you. It's the part of you that feels invisible, disrespected, like your existence doesn't matter. That wound is old. It didn't begin on the highway. It began years ago in moments where you felt overlooked, unimportant. The traffic was just the spark. The pain was already there, waiting to burn. Or picture an argument with your partner. They forget something important and your anger lashes out. "You never care about me." But deep down, the wound isn't about a forgotten task. It's about the fear that maybe you're not truly valued, not truly loved. That fear hurts. And anger is how you cover it, how you shout so you don't have to admit that you're scared. Here's the breakthrough. When you dare to name the wound, the anger loses its grip. If you whisper to yourself, "I feel unimportant," or "I feel unloved," suddenly the fire is visible. And once the fire is visible, you can begin to put it out. Healing the root pain doesn't happen in a single moment. It takes honesty. It takes courage. Sometimes it takes help, from a friend, from a mentor, from a counselor. But every step you take toward healing is a step away from the cycle of anger. Because when the wound closes, there is nothing left for the rage to cover. Think of it like pulling weeds from a garden. You can cut the leaves over and over, but they always grow back. Only when you dig down and rip out the root does the weed finally disappear. Anger is the leaf. Pain is the root. If you want peace, you must go deeper. There was once a woman who struggled with constant outbursts. Every little thing triggered her, from spilled coffee to missed calls. She thought she was simply an angry person. But through reflection, she uncovered the truth. Her rage came from years of feeling abandoned, never being chosen first. The pain of being unseen had grown inside her like fire beneath the floorboards. Once she faced it, once she admitted, "I'm afraid I don't matter," her life began to shift. She still felt anger, but now she could trace it back, heal it at the root. Slowly, the smoke cleared, and you can do the same. The next time anger surges, don't stop at the surface. Don't get lost in the smoke. Ask yourself, what's the real wound here? What pain am I trying to hide? That question is your key. Because once you see the fire, you can begin to put it out. With compassion, with truth, with healing. Remember, anger isn't the enemy. Ignored pain is. Heal the wound and the smoke will fade. Heal the root and the cycle will finally break. Anger will always knock on your door. It doesn't vanish forever. It doesn't disappear into thin air. It waits, sometimes silently, sometimes violently, ready to test you again. But here's the difference. You now know that you have a choice. You are no longer a prisoner of impulse. You hold the key. Picture this. Every time rage rises, your future self is watching. That version of you, wiser, calmer, stronger, stands in the corner, almost begging, "Please don't burn what we've built. Please protect what matters most." In that moment, the choice is yours. Do you destroy with fire or do you build with light? Because anger, when tamed, is not just an enemy defeated, it is energy transformed. The same fire that once shattered trust can become the warmth that heals it. The same storm that once left silence in its wake can become the rain that nourishes growth. Anger itself is not evil, it is wild. And when you learn to guide it, to soften it, to channel it, it becomes power. Not the power that crushes, but the power that protects. So when anger knocks next time, don't slam the door in fear and don't let it barge in and destroy everything either. Open it slowly, look it in the eyes and say, I see you, but I choose differently now. That is your freedom. That is your strength. You don't just break the cycle for yourself. You break it for your children, your loved ones, for every future version of you. The question is no longer, will anger come? The question is, what will you do when it does? And the answer is in your hands.